My name is Hamza Yassin. You might recognize me from Strictly, but my true passion is birds of prey. I am a wildlife cameraman, and am about to embark on an incredible journey. From the wild west coast of Scotland to urban London, my goal is to track down and film my absolute favourite birds of prey.
Oh, wow, that is so cool.
Along the way, I'll be meeting passionate people whose love for the natural world shines through. I can't wait to show you why I love my home in Scotland and the amazing birds of prey we have here in the British Isles.
Never done anything like this. I'm going to be so out of my comfort zone.
The Strictly Come Dancing champions 2022 are Hamza and Yassin.
I remember saying to my family that I'm going to be on Strictly, and they were like, yeah, funny, Hamza, well done. I was kind of worried. I'm like, is that me? Do I normally look as beautiful as these guys? No. I'm in natural history. I'm a wildlife cameraman. I'm hiking through this amazing, amazing ancient woodland. I'm trying to find the golden eagle nest so that later on in the summer we can come back and film it. I'm normally covered in mud and in ticks, and twigs are running through my hair because I was jumping in a bush trying to look at something. But by God, did it change me. Coming home after Strictly was beautiful. There was just nothing like feeling the support and love from my neighbours. They were all in the village hall, watching, cheering me on.
Hamza!
If it wasn't for the village, I wouldn't be this wildlife cameraman that I am now. When I'm moving around the village, it's very rare that I don't get stopped and someone saying, I saw a baby otter with a mum and she was just over there and the eagle was doing this. This is where I want to be. This is my happy place.
I moved to the UK from Sudan when I was 8, but it wasn't until after university that I first came to the west coast of Scotland. I was drawn by the wildlife, and especially the birds of prey. There are 20 species that breed in the British Isles, including eagles, harriers, and falcons, ranging in size from the little owl that's not much bigger than a blackbird to the white-tailed eagle with its 2-meter wingspan. Their keen eyesight and sharp hearing make them our top avian predators. They use their talons and hooked beaks to kill their prey. And it was eagles that first drew me to Scotland. I had to move there, whatever it took.
I said to my parents that I live in this beautiful, quaint cottage, but in reality, I was living in the back of my car for 9 months at the ferry terminal. Morning.
Morning, morning, morning.
How you doing?
You all right, buddy?
My neighbour Chris and his wife Amanda saved me from the back of my car and helped me find a place of my own.
Beautiful morning for it.
It's like this every day on the west coast of Scotland.
Absolutely. We just don't tell people.
It's this special sense of community that I love about the West Coast. I've made a whole new family here.
If your mum and dad are a long way away, you can actually talk.
Yeah.
Talk to us. You can ask me and Amanda. I mean, I try to help you more on practical things, and Amanda tries to maybe give you more emotional advice. Amanda adopted you, I think.
She felt sorry for me.
Adopted you as her fourth child.
Yeah, like during Strictly, I know I lent on Amanda quite a lot.
The fishing boats have got a hydraulic hoist. Why do I need a hydraulic hoist?
When you've got Hamza.
You've got Hamza, your human forklift.
Well, if it means I get to see my eagles, it's a pleasure doing this. That's kind of the West Coast way of doing things. It's the island way of doing things.
In exchange for my help, Chris takes me to the first bird on my list.
This is it. This is where it all started, and this is the first bird on my list, the white-tailed sea eagle. Now, I remember coming to the West Coast for the first time and seeing them, and this is where it all started. My love of birds of prey. These are what I call my eagles.
I've been watching this pair of white-tailed eagles for the past 14 years, sitting quietly in my bird hide. I've spent countless hours filming them as they raise their chicks. They're tiny, fluffy and vulnerable at the beginning. And it's almost surprising every year that they grow into the biggest, most powerful birds of prey we have in the British Isles, with a 2-meter wingspan.
They are powerful, majestic, beautiful, charismatic, intelligent. I can go on and on. They are what I think of when I wake up, what I dream about. For me, they are the way into the natural world. So if you look on the left-hand side and see if you can spot the adults.
You expect me to spot a bird in that?
Why not?
I've never spotted something before you.
It's
Even
not...
when you spot it, I don't even see it. I can see trees.
Well, that's a start. That's a start.
Does trees count?
Trees definitely count. Now look on top of the trees.
I tell you what I am thinking. I do remember before they had nested, walking in to put the hide up.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a good
That was
day.
a hot day.
This whole saying, it takes a village to raise a child, this village raised me.
Someone who knows just how hard it is to film white-tailed eagles is fellow wildlife cameraman and a mentor of mine, John Aitchison. We recently worked together on a very special series.
To have the pleasure of working with you on Wild Isles, on a topic that we both love, which is eagles, it was kind of like a full circle for me.
It was such a privilege, wasn't it?
It was
so
just
delighted
so
about that
cool.
whole thing.
Like when they said, the call came up and they said,
Yeah.
you're going to be filming with John and Jesse. And I'm like, John Aitchison? Yes. Jesse Wilkinson? Yes. I was like a little kid.
Hamza, we were the same when they said Hamza's coming. We were like, oh, yeah,
Really?
it's great.
You see, I never knew it that way.
We went to the Isle of Islay of Scotland's west coast, and we tried to film a behaviour that no one has ever captured before in the British Isles. These white-tailed eagles have learned how to hunt the barnacle geese that spend the winter here. Capturing this drama was a complex assignment.
You and Jesse were up in the towers, and I was the roving cameraman, like covering the bay. As soon as eagles were spotted in the air, all three of us were on the radio saying, yep, got it, I'm on it, coming from left to right.
Eagle! Eagle on the flats, just going down.
White-tailed eagles were extinct and reintroduced into Scotland in the 1970s. Today, there's about 150 pairs, and this generation has learned to hunt in a new way.
It's kind of fascinating to see a change like that going on, because I think it's happening in real time. I've been to Islay over the years many, many times, and that wasn't happening when I first went there. There were no
Right.
white-tailed eagles there.
Right.
As a conservation story, it's a great success. You know, it's a really positive story, I think.
I'm still learning. And is that the same for you as well?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think being interested in nature is exactly about that. That the more you experience, the more you pay attention, the more you realise you don't know. I mean, what other interests are there where it just gets more enthralling the more interested you are? It's sort of renewing in that way. It's the best.
Eagles aren't the only birds of prey that take advantage of the migrants that pass through the UK each winter. The next bird on my list specialises in hunting wading birds that refuel along our coastline. The peregrine falcon. The fastest animal on the planet and one of my absolute favourites. Peregrines are hunting machines. They fly high above their target, then stoop at up to 200 miles an hour. The birds below pack together to confuse the predator. But the peregrines are not just fast, they are smart too. It comes in low and isolates a single bird from the flock. Using the hard mud as a weapon, it drives its victim into the ground. In recent years, peregrine numbers have decreased. But there's still one surprising place where they're doing well.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm in the middle of London at Ealing Hospital. And I'm looking at the top of that building. It's not much to look at the moment, but in that fourth alcove, there's a box. That box contains a treasure. In fact, 2 of them, peregrine falcon chicks. They're the fastest living creatures in the world. And to think that their parents are around here somewhere hunting is just fantastic news.
In order to take on this enormous challenge, I've enlisted my team to help me spot them.
Oh, you can see the chick's head now poking up above the nest box.
Oh, nice. Yeah, she's flapping around a bit. At this stage in the chick's life, they're trying to get their wings stronger for when they do their first maiden flight.
Around our coasts, they nest on cliffs, but tall buildings also offer them a place where they're not disturbed.
There he goes, there he goes. There's the dad. He's just off. Now, when the peregrine's right above us like this, it's kind of difficult. And what he has a tendency to do is he goes into the sun, and that's so that he can blind anything that's looking up at him. Because if I am struggling to see the peregrine in the sun, pigeons are going to struggle as well, or any other prey. And that's when he pounces. Oh, he knows exactly how to play it, doesn't he? The thing about filming peregrines is there's a lot of waiting around. And all of a sudden it kicks off. In fact, there's one. See? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Guys, can you give me a running commentary, please?
Yeah, track and right.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I'm on her.
Gone behind the building.
Yeah, can you give me a heads up when she comes out?
Yeah, not quite yet. Male's coming in from the left. Stay where you are.
Yeah, on him. As they go past each other, you can really see the size comparison between the male and the female.
Female peregrines can be twice the size of the male.
Guys, they're making a lot of noise. Can anyone see what they're angry about?
I've got nothing at the moment. Elle, are you on the roof? Can you see anything?
No, I can't see anything, actually. Just pigeons.
Something's annoying them and I can't figure out what it is.
Oh, hold on, Hamza. Up there.
Where?
Coming in left. Yeah.
On him. Here we go.
They spotted a gull. Instinctively, they're chasing it away.
Okay, they're coming together
Yeah,
again
I'm
now.
gonna shoot slightly wider now.
Yeah.
I love how their narrow wings make them so maneuverable, even if that does make them hard to film.
Nice, well done, guys.
Proper
Sweet.
run around.
Oh man, that was like 360 completely. Everything happens quick in peregrine life. You can see the female. She's slightly nodding off, her eyes beginning to close. It's a tiring day for her. Feeding 2 chicks is a lot of work.
While she sleeps, the male will be out finding the next meal. I've been told the park across from the hospital is his regular hunting ground. As soon as I set up and focus on his favourite perch on the railway viaduct, I get lucky. He's caught a ringneck parakeet.
He looks so happy sat on that perch. The only way I can describe it is, if you have a favourite rocking chair at home, that's what it's like for him.
The bridge serves as a plucking post. He removes the feathers so he can feed the meat to his chicks.
Here comes another train. He doesn't flinch. He does not flinch one bit.
Introduced from India and Pakistan, there are now tens of thousands of ringneck parakeets all across London.
Oh, what a magnificent bird. What a magnificent... I'm just sat here watching it now. And he looks like he's about to head back towards the hospital. See if I can get a shot. Oh, wow, that is so cool. These peregrines in Ealing have everything they really need. They've got a hospital as a nest site, a viaduct as a plucking post, and this amazing park that provides them with food. You might not look it, but London is a peregrine paradise.
Once at the risk of extinction in the British Isles, peregrines now breed in almost all of our major cities. If you look up into the skies, you might just see one for yourself. From urban London, I'm heading back to Scotland, deep into the Cairngorms National Park. My goal here is to try and film one of Britain's rarest birds of prey. Hen harriers breed in the uplands of northern England, Scotland and Wales, which in places have the right mixture of heather and trees. That's just what the team here on the Wildland Estate have created. And Dave Pears is the best person to help me film one.
I've been watching hen harriers in this area for 40 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm really privileged that I see them. Most people don't ever see them.
The male spins and twists upside down to catch the female's attention. This display is known as a sky dance.
Such beautiful birds. The grey male is stunning, beautiful silvery grey plumage. Wonderful flyers, so graceful.
These are the acrobats of the sky.
I think even your Craig Revel Hall would award a 10, wouldn't he?
Craig, get your Ted paddle out and give that hen harrier a Ted.
Hen harriers nest on the ground, and the female's brown and white plumage camouflages her perfectly. Even catching a glimpse of these beautiful birds isn't easy. There are currently fewer than 600 pairs in the whole of the UK, a fraction of what we could have.
Years would go by without you seeing any harriers or any breeding harriers, that is.
Yeah.
Soon after Wildlands took over, there was just the one pair, and that slowly increased. Last year, there was six nests,
Yes.
and then this year, 11 nests this year.
11?
11 nests.
Wow.
Yeah.
No one pays you to do this, but you're still out here at 5 o'clock in the morning. What makes you do this?
They're a bird which should really be thriving in Britain.
Yeah.
The general public should be able to see them all the time. I mean, the numbers are really suppressed.
Yeah.
Due to illegal persecution. The landscape is man-made. Farming, shooting estates, forestry dominate. But here on Wildlands, we've got a landowner who's giving priority to the natural environment to restore this area back to how it would naturally look.
Yeah. Its former glory.
After a long day of scanning the skies, our patience finally pays off.
There he is, just to the skyline. Above the ridge.
I should be able to film these birds everywhere. But sadly, they're really rare. So I was delighted to capture them in flight today. Hopefully, more initiatives like this will see lots more hen harriers dancing across our skies.
Morning. How you doing? Yeah, good, thanks. Just to top of the hill to look for some buzzards.
The next bird on my list is probably the easiest one to spot no matter where you live. And that means it's often overlooked. When you see a buzzard, look for its broad wings and listen out for its distinctive call. They are our most common bird of prey, but that wasn't always the case. Just 50 years ago, they were a real rarity. The use of pesticides reduced their breeding success. Today, they can be found in every county across the UK. And these adaptable predators have made a home here on my local patch.
I've just come to the back of the house to check on the buzzards that I've been filming. Now, the last time I saw them, they were little white, fluffy things that looked absolutely gorgeous.
I built my filming hide in an oak forest.
And I wasn't far. I'm probably about 6-7 meters away, so they can hear me breathing. The mum would be coming in with toads to feed them.
Sometimes the more dominant chick would have a go at the other one, but soon they settled back down again.
At one point, she even goes and gives the chicks a massive cuddle. She goes and incubates them to keep them warm. It was just lovely to have this intimate period between the parents and the chicks. They look absolutely beautiful. Now they're fully fledged chicks somewhere in this hillside. So if I can see the adults or hopefully the chicks, it will make my day. If the buzzard catches something, it will eat it there if it's for herself, him or herself. But if it's for the chicks, she will fly off to go and feed it to the chicks. So for me, buzzard moving with food means at least one of the chicks has survived. Having a look at the buzzard now, the wind is coming in off the sea and she's using the topography of the land. As the wind comes in, it rises and it's like a elevator for her. She opens up her wings and immediately she just climbs and goes up higher and higher. Absolutely amazing to see how efficient she is at using her wings.
Buzzards are so widespread because they're incredibly adaptable. They'll take anything, from rabbits to reptiles and even insects.
Here she is, here she is. Oh, she's just caught something. There's something in her talons and she's stooping, she's stooping, she's stooping. She's stooping hard. I bet you she goes into the trees. She's just gone underneath the horizon for me. Hopefully she'll pop out somewhere. But that's exactly the behavior I wanted to see. That indicates to me that at least one of the chicks is alive, which is great news. As much as I love seeing the buzzard here in this wild terrain, the thing about buzzards is they can be seen everywhere. On motorway verges, in country lanes, even in city centres if you're lucky. So you don't have to come to this far-flung place like the west coast of Scotland to hike up a hill to see them. You can see them everywhere.
I didn't have to go far for my next challenge. A bird of prey that I think has one of the most spectacular ways of catching its dinner: the osprey. My day began in the heart of the Caledonian pine forest, in a bird hide with a very special history.
Oh, she's beautiful. Absolutely majestic. Definitely deserves a place on my list. What an office. You have a fantastic office.
I know. I'm very grateful. It's beautiful. Every morning I wake up and pinch myself that I get to live here.
I bet.
Sonia joins a long line of volunteers, helping wildlife here at the RSPB's Lochgarten Reserve.
What got you into ospreys?
I just was blown away by the story of the ospreys. You know, they were extinct in the UK for just over 40 years.
Yes.
And a huge, huge amount of effort went into getting these birds back into the UK.
The last pair of ospreys bred in the British Isles in 1916. They went extinct, partly due to the Victorians' craze for stealing eggs from wild birds. In 1954, a pair of ospreys from Scandinavia, returning from their migration from Africa, nested at Lochgarten. Sadly, their eggs were stolen by collectors. And so, the RSPB put the nest under 24-hour watch. Local volunteers camped out in the forest to take part in a pioneering project, Operation Osprey. Thanks to that protection, in 1959, the ospreys here finally raised a family, with thousands of people flocking to see them.
It was a little bit controversial. They weren't sure whether it was going to work.
Yeah.
Because you would think they'd want to keep this location of the nest quiet.
Yeah.
But actually, all of those people heard about the plight of these birds, about why they'd become extinct in the UK, and about the continued persecution, and that meant so many extra eyes on the nest to help protect them.
Ospreys have bred successfully at this nest almost every year since.
From those 14,000 people back then, in that first year, to millions of people now seeing the ospreys right the way across the world because we stream the nest.
Absolutely.
That's a little bit of extra protection. And we got Brodie and Aisha on the nest at the moment. There's been lots of other male ospreys hanging around interested in gaining her affections this year, and she's absolutely adamant he's the man for her. She doesn't want anyone else.
Now that's a different sound than what I heard earlier. That's a communication call.
The one that you can hear now, which we often joke is fish, 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 when she sees Brody coming back
that's
with a
sweet.
fish.
Yeah.
So she's just trying to hurry him along.
Well, here we go. Here comes Brody with the fish. Ospreys are so perfectly designed for diving in the water, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible eyesight. You know, they're able to fold their wings right back behind them when they dive, so they don't get pulled into the water. They've got these eyelids that close to protect their eyes from the impact.
Yeah.
And those amazingly designed feet for catching the fish and holding on to up to half of their body weight they'll carry back to the nest.
I can see you're very passionate when you speak about the ospreys.
Yeah, I've learned a lot over the last few years, and I feel so inspired by what I've learned, by what we've got here in the UK, that I just want to share it with everybody.
60 years ago, the RSPB took a risk when they opened their doors to the public. Today, the legacy of those pioneering conservationists continues to inspire the next generation to love the natural world.
Through that? Do you think we're going to see some ospreys today?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I see it. Can you see it? So cool, isn't it? It's looking for the daddy and it's sitting on the nest and there's wee tiny beaks poking up.
Seeing their enthusiasm and watching them connect with nature is the reason why I love my job. But this generation has a lot on their shoulders.
If I asked you to help nature, what would you do?
Clean up the seas.
Wicked. All right, awesome. What else?
We need to help it, like, don't use as much litter and stop cutting down as many trees. And if you see animals, you should call a ranger or you help them.
Without the determination of those that came before us, these children might have never had the chance to see an osprey in Britain. This gives me hope for the future of ospreys and for all the other birds of prey we need to fight to protect. For the next bird, I was up at dawn, down on the Somerset Levels. Wildlife expert and cameraman Simon King wants to share something special with me.
Why did you drag me out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning?
You were late, mate.
How was
Supposed to be 4.
Well, I just need a little bit of beauty sleep, that's all.
Well, it's worked. That's why.
It is
Stunning, huh?
a sight to behold, to be honest, isn't it? And there's even more, some more
They're
over there.
all the way through this reed bed. These are 4-spotted chasers, a type of dragonfly, a species of dragonfly that roost communally. You can see they're all facing with their back to the sun.
Yes.
And clearly warming up. Can you just feel those first warm rays? Just close your eyes for a second and you just feel the heat on your cheek.
Yeah, it's like a little beautiful kiss on the side of your face.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're getting kissed by the sun, warming up, beginning to vibrate their muscles and the thorax at the base of the wings, and then off they go. They just did it as I said it on cue. Did you see that? The whole gang of them just took off. Before you know it, this whole area will be filled with the clattering wings of dragonflies. The beauty of this proliferation of dragonfly life is that it makes it a honeypot for one of my favourite birds of prey, and that's the hobby, which feed on these guys.
Hobbies time their return from Africa each spring to perfectly coincide with the emergence of dragonflies. But they're only here for a few months each summer. They're so small and fast, they're very hard to spot, let alone film.
It's extraordinary how adept they are at grabbing these insects out of the sky. When you think that the dragonfly itself can spot a fly, fly up, grab it mid-air in its legs, come back down and feed upon it, and they hardly ever miss. Now you try grabbing a fly with your hand. And
It's like Mr. Miyagi.
yeah, with the chopsticks.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So for a raptor, for a bird of prey to be able to catch an animal who can react so swiftly to movement is astonishing.
Whilst the hobbies hunt over open water, it's the reeds in between that offer the perfect home for my next bird.
There are marsh harrier territories throughout this part of the Levels, and in my lifetime it's developed hugely. Huge.
Really?
Oh yeah. When I first started to work down here, which is 43 years ago.
Okay.
How old are you?
I was 32.
So before you were born. So when I first started filming down here,
Yeah.
I knew of one marsh harrier nest, and it was so secret. No one talked about them.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of those, you didn't even say the name because it might blow up. you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and now, right across the Avalon marshes, you've got a very, very healthy population. When you're filming them, they've got a lot of choice. And this is a big habitat.
Yeah.
And so predicting where they might be so you get the best possible views and the closest possible views, honestly, there's no science to it. You pick a good spot where you know there are territories, put the time in,
Okay.
which is what we'll do.
Right.
There's a harrier now in the distance.
Oh. That's not long.
Okay, coming right to left, on your right.
On it. Oh, lovely.
As their name suggests, marsh harriers are specialist wetland hunters. I love the way they appear to float above the reed beds as they search for hidden prey.
Oh, look at the harrier now, coming towards you. That's
job.
pretty close.
Yep.
Got him?
Yep. Absolutely love it here.
That's beautiful.
What have we seen? 4, 5 so far?
And that's in about 7 minutes.
For me, sometimes, if I'm having a really rough day and I'm just feeling a little bit, low in the dumps, I just go out, take my binoculars and go for a walk. And by the time I come back home, I feel so much more refreshed.
Absolutely.
I feel like I can deal with the world and my problems again.
Not everyone's fortunate enough to have something like this on their doorstep, but there's always somewhere where the real world prevails. And it can be a crack in the pavement, it can be a park in a city, it can be the sky. And for anyone who's interested in the natural world and develops that affinity, you begin to see these individuals as just that, as characters that you know very well. That, I suppose, is why it hurts so much to see loss. You're witnessing the loss of people you know.
Yeah.
And that is tragic.
What was this place like before the rewilding?
When I first knew it, it was industrial peat extraction. So just scarred, bare black earth, huge volumes of peat being extracted, which of course, as we know now, has a massive negative impact on the landscape and to the release of carbon. But what we're looking at is the magnificent saving grace, because that has now all been restored into this mosaic of wetland habitat, which is, as far as I'm concerned, one of, if not the richest in Britain and Ireland.
The Avalon marshes are an exciting example of how if you restore the landscape, wildlife will return. And the same can even be true in a suburban garden.
I love this red campion when it...
David Plummer has invited me to his wildlife garden for an unforgettable encounter with a nighttime predator.
So this is my favourite place anywhere, actually. I've travelled all over the world for work, and my absolute favourite place is right here in the evenings, next to the pond in Sussex.
David's work as a photographer and naturalist has taken him around the world. But the haven he's created here means more to him than anything he's seen elsewhere.
I mean, it's no secret I've got Parkinson's disease, which is I've dealt with for 14 years so far, pretty well. It's getting worse, and I know my world geographically is getting smaller. But the natural world is around us, everywhere. And if we create habitats, we can get as much pleasure out of this pond here in the UK as you can in a marsh in Brazil. There's every level of natural history, from apex predators to prey species. And so although it's getting geographically smaller, my mind is still as absorbed and obsessed with the natural world.
I must admit, you have a fabulous garden.
Thank you. It wasn't like it when I moved here. It was a chain link fence each side, flat grass, mowed to within an inch of its life, and the oak tree, and that was it. In the first month I lived here, I counted one butterfly, common blue. I think a couple of years ago I counted 12 species of butterfly in the meadow down the end.
It's slightly making me emotional to think that you said this is the last spot you're going to be living in, and you want it to be perfect.
Yeah. Perfect for me, and
I think more than just you, it's perfect for you and the wildlife that you attract here.
Yeah.
Thanks to David's passion and dedication, every night a pair of wild tawny owls visit his garden. Everyone knows their distinctive hooting call. But with their silent wings and camouflage feathers, they're incredibly hard to see. Filming them in the dark is especially challenging. Camerawoman Katie Mayhew is the expert when it comes to capturing these birds on film.
You filmed quite a lot of wild owls, and you filmed the tawny owl sequence. What was that like?
Pretty special, actually, because David and I have been working with tawny owls in his garden for about 4 years. So to sort of film it and have that on BBC1, narrated by David Attenborough, was pretty special.
Can you give me a rundown of what's going to happen tonight?
So the plan is, I mean, it's a wild bird, so it'll do what it wants, but
okay.
Hopefully come in from this side and then see the snaking branch here. There's a small apex surrounded by leaves. That's a favourite perch.
All right.
And then if we're lucky, we'll get a big, beautiful glide wings out from those perches all the way down to the stump on the left-hand side of the pond.
Nice.
We're then going to put you 4 metres away from the owl. We're going to dress you up in camouflage, sit you on a little seat, and you're going to have to stay as still as you possibly can.
Bring it on. I can't wait for this.
Katie sets up specialist lights, bright enough for low-light cameras, but dim enough not to frighten the owl. She also positions a remote camera looking back at the stump. David leaves roadkill there because tawny owls are scavengers as well as predators.
I can hear alarm calls over there. The owl's moved. It's getting closer.
That time of night.
Ready?
You look ready.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, there's no dancing shoes tonight, is there?
Well, I traded my ballroom suit for a ghillie suit instead.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's hope the owl does the dancing tonight.
Hope she does.
Yeah.
Shall we get into our positions?
Let's do it.
All right.
Good luck.
Katie gets ready behind her camera, David spots with a thermal scope, and I get a front row seat.
To think that any minute now, a tawny owl is going to land right in front of me. It's unbelievable, really. My heart is absolutely racing at the moment. The blackbird is certainly not happy. Oh, I don't believe it. What just happened? was phenomenal. That was absolutely phenomenal.
I call them the killer angels. They're just our apex nocturnal avian predator. And they are just so gorgeous. It is a case of if you put it there, wildlife will come.
I'm returning to Scotland for my final and absolute favourite bird of prey.
God, it's good to be back. I'm on my favourite ridge of all time, my Golden Eagle Ridge. I was here for Wild Isles, tasked with capturing the adults and the chicks. Now, I managed to get the adults coming through the trees looking all gorgeous. But when it came to filming the chicks at the nest, unfortunately, I got called away for another job. Now, my good friend and mentor, John Aitchison, stepped in and managed to capture some of the most incredible golden eagle footage that I've ever seen. He managed to capture the chicks climbing down the tree, walking around the heather like big turkeys, and then in the evening going back up the tree, getting ready to be fed by the parents.
That's a behaviour that no one had ever seen before, and certainly not filmed.
I'm back here a year later, trying to capture something similar to what John captured in Wild Isles. Unfortunately, this year's nest failed, and I'm a little bit devastated. However, I rang a good friend of mine, Ewan, who's an eagle expert, and he said I can accompany him to another golden eagle nest where I can finally get my fix of a golden eagle chick up close and personal. I genuinely cannot wait.
Experts Jenny and Ewan volunteer their time to help with the conservation of birds of prey. They have special permission to work with eagles, and the data we collect today will form part of a long-term study.
My dreams are coming true at the moment.
Yeah, finally, golden eagle nest.
What, it's taken me probably 20 years to get to this point? So once you're up there, what are you going to do?
So I've got a bag here to put the chick in.
Okay.
And then we'll lower it down to you and Jenny, and you guys can start ringing
nice.
Chick on the ground.
To minimise disturbance, we only have an hour at the nest, so Ewan works quickly.
This is like Christmas, sat underneath a Christmas tree, waiting for Santa to come down with a present.
Absolutely. This Christmas tree has had golden eagles living in it for over 100 years. In order to better conserve the birds, we need to really understand them. And studies like this are really invaluable in telling us how the populations change over time as the environment changes.
It's just that, it's that anticipation because we don't know what's there.
Yeah.
You know, we're pretty sure there's one chick, but, you know, there could be interesting prey remains. Like, he does have the best job, I think. He gets to do that first peek.
Is it just one chick, Ewan?
It's 2 chicks.
No way. You serious?
2 chicks.
I've dreamt about this for years. It's an absolute privilege. And I could only do this with people like Ewan and Jenny because they are licensed to do this sort of work. By God, am I excited.
We believe in the conservation of these species and using the skills that we've got to help find out everything we can about them. And then you can protect them, then you can look after them.
Okay. Here comes the chick.
Okay.
All right, all yours. I've actually got a golden eagle in my hands. This is crazy. This is a dream come true. I can't believe this is happening. Gosh.
Every time gets you.
Okay, I'll lower it, Hamza, if you
Okay.
just go and...
I'll be ready for you.
Yep.
I've got the other one. So shall I keep it in the bag for now?
So we'll just leave that one quiet.
Where it is? And it will just stay in the bag, would it?
Yep, should do. Right, get some rings on.
I'm going to squeeze here.
When we visit the nests, we're ringing the chicks, which enables us to identify them throughout their entire lives. So if we put camera traps out, we'll be able to read these coloured rings.
And this next one, this is the colour ring.
Colour ring, and that's unique to this golden eagle in Scotland.
Right. So this is Echo 37.
Yep.
You, young lady, are now called E37.
I think it's a girl, do you?
I think it's a boy.
I think.
Do you?
Well, I'm with Jenny. I think it's a girl.
I'm a scientist, I wait to see what the numbers say. The measurements will tell all.
I'm holding these talons, even at this young age. They can do a bit of damage with these.
Okay, what we're going to do is measure its foot, and that'll tell us whether it's a boy or a girl.
Sure.
So, that is...
14.5?
14.8.
Oh.
So this is a female.
It's a female?
Yeah, so you can see she's quite a lot bigger than he is. The female chick has a much longer foot, much bigger feet,
Absolutely.
much more killing power. For most species, you know, the female plays a more active role in the nest. So during that time, she'll obviously be defending the nest. I really like male golden eagles. They're so fast, they're so agile.
Yeah.
They're just the ultimate hunters.
Absolutely.
And the females are just such majestic battleships of the skies.
That's it. There you go. Watch your tail. Gosh. Hopefully I get to see you one day on the hill while I'm filming years from now raising your own chicks. Hi, darling.
When I started monitoring eagles in the early 2000s, there was about 18 pairs in the local area. And over the next sort of 15 years or so, 18 pairs declined to about 14 or 15 pairs. Here in northeast Scotland, we do have heavy persecution. Following changes in legislation and attitude, we started to see an increase in the population. And that's really a fantastic glimmer of hope. And this year, we have around 24 pairs, which is just a phenomenal increase.
I'm not having a shower. I'm covered in down from a golden eagle. May I have a hug to say thank you so much for this?
You know, we are going through a great period of change, and there is more cause for hope now for the population than there ever has been in the 80-year history of the study.
Thanks to people like Ewan and Jenny, golden eagles are starting to spread across Scotland. But my hope is that soon they'll be seen right across the whole of the UK. This summer, I've been on an incredible journey, travelling the length of the UK, filming and getting to know my favourite birds of prey. It's really heartwarming to know that nearly all of them are making a recovery. To end my journey, I've come full circle, back home to where it all began.
This is exactly where I fell in love with eagles, because I got my first ever shot of a golden eagle landing, and I can't wait to show you this. Come and have a look. There's a few ferns growing through it, but by God, 14 years.
Still standing strong. It looks a bit worse for wear. And I come up here, and there used to be notes and stuff, but I actually just want to check and see what there would be. There'd be like little notes for me to say thank you. Ah, there is. There's a drink that's not opened, and then there's a note for me as well. Let's see what it says. To Hamza Yassin. Oh, wow. This is so sweet. This is such a beautiful letter. You've said here, thank you for inspiring me to take photos of wild birds. Oh, look at this. People have added to it. Oh, wow. Oh, this is so lovely. To think that eagles have brought people together is kind of weird, but in a really beautiful way. People are awesome. Humanity is amazing. And this is what this whole journey is about. It's just wonderful to see everybody collaborating and enjoying the natural world. And this is why we need to look after it. My mission in life is to basically help the natural world, be the voice for the wildlife. And the way I can do that is through my documentaries and through my filmmaking. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna go and get a clean piece of paper just to see what the next person says.